just double check before I start that everything is working. So, good morning again. I'm James Squires. I'm the Sales and Accounts Manager here at BORIS Software. Thank you for joining us today. I appreciate it's 8:30. You've probably got quite a busy day ahead. Let me just talk to you about, first of all, the purpose of what we're trying to achieve today and how we're going to achieve it. So, the purpose of today was we were looking to consolidate information from our clients. And we've taken that information and we've analysed it to understand what tech has done for them in terms of being able to enable growth within their businesses. We've taken that information and that analysis and we've summarised it, and we've tried to produce today's report or today's presentation to you, really with the idea that what we want to do is we want to work more closely with our clients or our prospective clients in terms of giving information and support back to them. So hopefully you will find today's presentation useful. It has come from lots of analysis and understanding of what our clients are doing. So what's the format of today going to be like? Well, I promise you it's not going to last any longer than 30 minutes. It's going to be an entire PowerPoint presentation, although I have used some real-world examples from our application and from technologies that we deal with. And it's going to be a lot about the how and the why. So hopefully you're going to find something really useful today. If you would like access to the pack, the deck, then I'm happy to share that with anyone on the call or any colleagues or people that you would like to introduce us to afterwards that you feel may gain benefit from this. And at the end of today's session, there's going to be a slide that I place up which has got my mobile number, it's got my email address on there, and I'd be delighted if any of you were to message me and say, can I have a copy of it, can I share it, can I utilise it, etc, etc. So just give me a call, drop me a message, and I'll send that out to you. So let's jump straight into it, and let's start by looking at the agenda for today. So the agenda, I'll just click across. The agenda today is going to be quite straightforward. We're going to be starting off with a little bit about Boris. Who are we? We're then going to look at why do businesses actually struggle to grow in the first place, and how does process management, performance management and third-party management actually fit in within that. So we're going to be looking at each of those examples and we're going to be talking about them. And at the end I'm going to summarise our views, our thoughts on how technology has helped enable growth within these businesses. So, promised you to start off with who are Boris, so let me tell you a little bit about us and what we do as a business. So first of all, we're not a new software business that's just been set up. We were established 11 years ago in 2012. We were originally established as a specific solution for the fire industry. Now I say solution because that industry's changed a lot over the last few years and posed some really big disasters. So we've had a lot of change going on, but we were championing that change 11 years ago, working with things like a golden thread before a golden thread existed. Now moving forward, we've moved into, over the 11 years, we've moved into construction, we've moved into utilities, we've moved into civils, you name it, any industry within that whole construction or building of a building and then the ongoing maintenance of that building, we are involved in. Our head office is based here in sunny Leeds. I promise you it's sunny today. I pulled the blinds so you can get a better view of me, but it is a sunny day here in Leeds. We do have two other offices around the world, number one being in Bristol, and we have a second one over in Dubai. I promise you not as glamorous as our Leeds head office location. We work with our clients, transforming their business, enabling that growth, turning paperwork into digital processes. And the reason why we do that is to increase efficiency, increase transparency, and increase and improve compliance. So, let's look at why businesses struggle to grow. Let's start there. So, in principle, there are a number of reasons why businesses fail to grow. The first one could be a lack of capital or funding in that business. Second reason might be inadequate management. Have they got the right skills, the right experience, the right structure to enable you to grow? Have we got faulty infrastructure or business model? Do we have a lack of business strategy or marketing plan? Do we have lack of manual processes, or do we have manual processes and a lack of automation? All of these are going to hinder your growth opportunities. It's going to take resource, it's going to take time. And ultimately, the end result of all of this could be a slowing down or a pause in your cash flow caused by inefficiency, quality and communication. Now, broadly speaking, these 7 or 8 points, I think 7 points, can be broken down into 2 areas. And we've put a dotted red line to indicate the difference between these 2. So what do we mean by that? Well, these top 4 are generally internal decisions or direction that's being taken. Whereas the bottom 3 are what we're going to talk about today. These are your enablers. This is how technology is going to enable you as a business to be able to grow. Okay? So, having considered all of those and looking at the 7 principal reasons, and we're going to take these bottom reasons, let's really focus on those now and try to understand why. So, the first area we're going to move into here is from paperwork into process management. And we're talking about data collection, automation, integration here, okay? So, and apologies, I know it's early still on a Thursday morning, but let's talk through data capture. So, what do we mean by data capture? So, ultimately, each of your guys is probably out in the field working away, and at the moment they might be taking information, evidencing of what works they're doing on paper. They might be doing it into a basic app, they might be evidencing it into WhatsApp. I've seen all sorts of things over the years and all sorts of ways of doing it. Well, technology is there to support you. The first thing you need to do as a business is define what data is needed, and this can be roughly broken down into 3 key areas. Number 1 is compliance. What do you need to be compliant? Number 2 is legislation. What does the law say and what should you be collecting? And finally, one of the most important ones for yourselves probably is the client requirements. How am I going to get paid at the end of this? What data do I need to present back to the client in order to get my money? Now, how do we control that evidence? Again, we've got guys out in the field. They might be using pen and paper on a clipboard. How do you control the information that's being placed onto that piece of paper? How do we control it at survey stage? Is there a way of passing that data across into installations and works? And again, what are you specifying needs to be controlled? And then, looking at all of that, we need to consider how we consistently gather that data. So what do we mean by consistency? Well, first of all, we mean standardization of those data fields. We mean pre-population of information and evidencing via images and audio and video. Now, there's lots of different ways this can be done. Things like drop-down menus are going to standardize. It's going to force your guys to select. If you ask a question on a piece of paper and you ask that same question to 20 people, expect you will get 20 different responses. If you have a solution that can standardize that information collection through the use of standardization of fields, i.e. drop-down menus, or pre-populating information in, or being able to evidence and showing them how they make that evidence, and that's going to support you at collecting the right data. What it's also going to do is optimize that user journey. Now, again, you will notice that technology will not only support you as a business, but typically it will support your guys and girls out in the field as well. It will ensure that they have a clear mandatory structure that they have to follow, and they can't complete a report without having delivered that mandatory structure. That's really critical in terms of that standardization of data collection. So I'm going to give you an example here, and again we've pulled this from our system and from actually a mobile app. So you'll see there on the screen I've cut out 3 slides or screenshots of our app. Now, it is a generic template. I've chosen to put a generic template up there because we have people from different industries joining the call today. So had I have placed on a specific industry focused one, it may not have made as much sense. So that's why I've chosen a generic one. And you can see there that we've got drop-down menus, snippets to pick, ticks and crosses, yeses and nos, nice simple icons to follow through. Now each of these fields on here will be doing something in the background. It will be ensuring that the data you collect is standardized and it's delivering that consistency, making sure that everyone within your team is delivering data back in exactly the same format. It's going to make it quicker for you guys out in the field. One of the biggest complaints we have from guys and girls out in the field when it comes to paper-based processes is the amount of time it takes to actually input that data. Again, using pre-population, using drop-down fields, using quick data entry points such as crosses, ticks, etc. will really support you with this speed. And finally, compliance. It's going to ensure that mandatory data is collected, and it's going to make sure that that's done with a view to what do I need with to be compliant, what do I need with my legislation. So again, as I said previously, if you'd like a copy of this, I know I'm moving along quite quickly, but if you'd like a copy of this deck afterwards, you're more than welcome to have a copy and more than welcome to pick up the phone and talk to me about anything contained within here. But hopefully that example's really just given a highlight as to how a form can guide a user through collecting the right data. Now this is one of my key topics, is automation. Automation, what do we mean by that? Well, when something happens, what happens next? That's what automation's about. Can we get something to trigger which takes away human interaction? And again, that will drive more resource into your business and enable you to grow. We know that staff resource is a premium. For a lot of you out there, staffing costs are the biggest cost that you have as a business. And if you have your teams, your staff, working on heavy task, building reports, moving one form to the next place, planning diaries, all of that is going to take up a huge amount of time in your staffing resource, and it's going to limit your ability to be able to grow. So pre-designed templates such as forms and reports incorporate that standard information so you update only the job specific details. And again, that's really important. Let's imagine we've gone out and we've done a survey. We've captured a lot of information. What's happening a lot at the moment in a lot of clients that are struggling to grow is actually then at the work stage, none of that information is being passed through. So that information is having to be captured again at each stage that the works goes through. That's slowing your guys down out in the field, it's reducing productivity, it's making you inefficient. And as I said earlier, trigger processes or trigger actions can create process flows and minimize the need for manual tasks. But what do I mean by that? Well, just receiving a completed report from an operative in the field, should it generate a report for your client in a specific manner? Well, hopefully yes it should. Should it actually remove and take that report and send it across over to your client? Can your client authorize it at that point and trigger the work instruction back to you? All of these things are what we're talking about with automation. And this really sort of segues me into that data transfer from internal teams through to third-party clients or support networks, subcontractors, etc., etc. And again, the system should be able to move data into different places, and that's going to give you more resource back in your business. It's going to enable you to grow in a more efficient manner. So here what I've done is, again, I've taken an example from one of our form builders inside the system, really just to try to highlight this point to you. And what I'm looking at here is, this screenshot that we have here now is actually a cutout from the bottom of a form. And a form builder is exactly what it says on the tin. It allows you to be able to create a completely customized form and user journey from that form, okay? And at the bottom of each of our forms, form building section within our back office, we have this actions to take section. Now, if I can explain and walk you through this, should be able to guide you in terms of what's actually happening. So you'll see there's a green line that says actions to take. That appears down at the bottom of the form builder within Boris. So when a report is received from the device, now this is either incomplete or complete, so that form might not be complete at this stage. This data capture that's going on out on site might not be complete, but what we're going to do is we're going to set a value within for the item within the document. We're going to set a reference number for it. Now when that report becomes available for sign-off, it's going to then do something different. It's going to create a new job. Okay, it's going to create reference numbers for any follow-up actions. So for that work, it's going to create the reference number. So you can have unique identifiers in your system about those jobs. And what it's going to do is it's going to automatically release that across over to the customer. Okay, so it's going to take away work that you are currently possibly doing at the moment and is hindering your growth opportunities. And then it's going to give the customer, within that send off to the customer, the opportunity to approve or to sign that off. And when that is released by the customer, it's going to come back into the system, it's going to update the status, and it's going to create the follow-up jobs. So we can see there that automation, just within this one little form here, what this is doing is it's taking those actions that have been identified. That could be from a risk assessment, it could be from a number of different ways. Apologies, the economy lights have gone off in here, so hopefully someone will just come and open the door and turn the lights on for me. But hopefully it isn't too much of a problem that you're looking at me in the dark. So yes, so what this system's going to do is it's going to take all of that information, it's going to say, right, what do we need to follow up on? Okay, is there a way that we can go and win that business more quickly? And what the system's going to do is it's going to wrap up those jobs into follow-up actions, and it's going to send that across over to the customer, allowing the customer to authorise it and bring that information back into the system. Thank you. You just noticed the economy lights have turned back on again, so I can see what I'm doing now. So again, if you'd like access to any of these slides, please let me know. But just an example there of how automation can really support you in terms of a custom workflow. Now, we've covered automation, we've covered data capture, we're now going to talk about integration. Now, integration can mean lots of things to lots of different people, but what is integration? Well, integration is about one piece of software talking to another piece of software. At the moment, within your business, you have a huge amount of software, I'm absolutely sure. Now, does one talk to the other? Or are you in a position where you're having to complete works within one system and then double key it into another system? Again, the impact on your growth potential is huge. So, business rules and processes should drive this communication. Well, what do I mean by that? Well, an action, a trigger action, should trigger information into a partner system. And this can be done in a number of different ways. There's a little diagram up at the top there that talks about an at-rest API. Well, APIs are not the only way to integrate. APIs are one very, very useful way. It's a bi-directional push and pull of information live. But you could have a flat file outputting, an auto pickup script collecting that and ingesting it into a system. The idea being here that data is going to pass seamlessly from one system to the next through a few different forms of integration methods. That's going to save you all of that double key entry time. It's going to increase more efficient communication. Ultimately, the net result of this, if it's going into client systems, is it should improve billing cycles for you as well. And we touched on this earlier, integration methods will vary dependent on requirements. If you're integrating with a CRM, you may want an API, bi-directional live push and pull of information. But if you're integrating with an accountancy platform, you may want that to be a flat file once or twice a week. So again, a solution should offer you different ways of doing things. And again, I've just placed some common integration solutions down below. You probably have some or all of these: Sage, Xero, a CRM, Office. It's really not limited to that number of systems. Obviously, you have dozens and dozens of systems, I'm absolutely sure. But this is just an example of some of the systems that we're currently integrating with. So moving on from the data now into the performance management, and again, how can technology support you in this drive towards a better understanding of your business and a better way to make business decisions to move forward to enable you to grow? So the first thing that any system should be able to provide to you, once you've collected this data, once you've integrated it with other systems, is to be able to say, well, actually, can I get immediate data analysis? What do I mean by immediate? Well, you want to know today what the performance of certain projects is. Has one operative performed better versus another? What's the run rate of that project? And what's the current billing total for that project? All of this information is immediate data insight that you need to achieve. And if you're going to grow, this is essential to making those decisions for you to be able to grow and move forward. Now, software can typically integrate with solutions like Power BI. So Power BI is a great trending analytical platform, costs a reasonable amount of money, but typically software will be able to provide this to you. And again, I've just shown an example of a dashboard contained within one of our systems. So again, it doesn't have to be through a third-party solution provider like Power BI. It can actually be done 9 times out of 10 within the software platform that you're working from. But ultimately, this is going to make you make better business decisions. Now, compliance management, we talked about compliance earlier on, and I think it's important that we actually just look at why businesses aren't compliant. And there's a couple of principal reasons. Number one is a lack of knowledge or understanding of the requirements, and number two is an ignorance towards them. That generally are the reasons of why compliance management can affect you as a business. Now, what can that result in? Now, this is, I suppose, a little bit serious for a Thursday morning, but it can result in poor reputation, poor performance, fines, business closure, and even prison. So the impacts of failing to comply are absolutely huge. That being said, technology can enable you to move forward, ensuring compliance and allowing your business to grow successfully. So what should you be looking for when you're looking to choose technology that fits into your business and enables that growth? Well, first of all, does it facilitate group-wide communication? Will it allow you to distribute new ideas, updates, bulletins, she alerts? All of these things potentially are being done manually by you at the moment. And moving forward, if you're going to grow, you need to be able to find a solution for this. It will allow you to evidence training such as toolbox talks, competence certificates, expiry dates. It's going to enable the selection of staff based on skill set rather than human intervention. It's going to structure processes with supporting evidence. It's going to place that image that's been taken, that signature, alongside that form for you. It's going to highlight performance issues, poor quality and non-compliance. It's going to provide task management, display that current activity and who is allocated to complete them. So it's going to wrap up this compliance management for you, and it's going to deliver all of that work automatically through the build of these user journeys. Now, workforce management. So we've touched today so far very, very quickly on data compliance, automation, integration, compliance management. We now need to think about the workforce, and we've got a load of data here within the workforce, as well as the data we're collecting about the job. Now, pulling the two bits of information together, including things like timesheets, travel and expenses, overtime, what's that going to do for you? Well, first of all, it's going to give you the effectiveness of your team. It's going to give you the information that allows you to start to make critical business decisions to enable you to grow. It's going to outline those poor performing employees to you, allowing you to take action. It's going to indicate the resource issues, such as the number of staff, availability, skill set, equipment issues. The software will do this for you and take away all of this analytical work that you're possibly having to do manually at the moment in order to make these decisions, therefore identifying the opportunities for growth for you. And then the use of online planners, dynamic scheduling will save time, resource, and minimize the opportunity for human error. So software will manage your workforce more effectively than a human can manage it. It will give you time and resource back into your business. And furthermore, it can support your field-based teams. It can clarify site attendance. It can look at recurring poor behaviour issues. It can even, with the use of things like tracking, actually ensure that things like speeding fines are minimised. Again, all things that can be real inhibitors to growth for you. And on this slide here, all I've done is I've taken out a dashboard, a holistic view of an individual. I think this is a record I've created for myself. It's a fictitious record, but it holds my basic details, return to work information. It can hold completed works against me. It can hold my holiday requests, my timesheets, etc., etc., etc. And again, here I've chosen to use a snippet, a slide from, again, our system, just highlighting a tracking solution, providing that proof of presence on site, validating what your teams are doing. So moving forwards now into third-party portals, I promise you I've got 3 slides left and 3 minutes to do them. So we will be drawing an end to this very, very shortly. Now, customer service and reporting is absolutely critical. And again, here I've placed some information and some snippets for you. Now, we've already talked about dashboards and business performance, but this is about the reporting side of things. And this is one of the biggest bugbears for any client that we have that's trying to grow. The amount of time it takes to consolidate the on-site information into a reporting format that works for your client and ultimately gets you paid. Okay, so client updates are one of those biggest problems for you. It also slows down billing. Necessary evidence and service provision and job completion for the client will ensure that payment is more prompt. And you'll see there at the bottom, what I've done is I've given you a summary screen, and I've also given you 3 small cutouts of reports, thinking about things like professional glossy front pages, thinking about working with awarding bodies, regulatory bodies, such as there we've got a Q-mark door install scheme. And again, ensuring that things like your O&M manuals are pre-populated in a digital fashion, which is where the law has now taken us. So the system's going to do all of this automatically for you, or technology should do this automatically for you, and therefore it will enable significant growth as a business. So, software provides quicker and more effective ways of managing internal teams and third parties. GPS will provide live updates for warn of potential delays and confirm staff welfare. Custom templates and automation ensures clients are promptly updated with progress and completion reports, avoiding potential delays to payments. An integration with complementary systems can help automate things such as quotes, sales agreements, invoicing and payments. Data analysis then finally, during or post completion, can detect areas of weakness or recurring problems to be rectified, or even improve your health and safety. So moving forward for third-party portals offer this opportunity for you to collaborate. So when we're talking about these third-party portals, we're talking about potentially client systems, we're talking about subcontractor systems, we're talking about regulatory systems, and the movement of data into these systems will give you increased efficiency in communication. Often, too much time is spent chasing this, and that's a resource that you could be utilising to grow your business. Automation provides that ability to transfer that information, as we saw earlier. It can automatically release information across to certain areas. A digital processor ability for clients to self-manage enables them to be involved throughout, trigger QC stages, saves times and ultimately improves billing cycles. So, in summary, what have I talked through today, and how can growth be encouraged by the use of technology? Well, first of all, it's worth noting that growth's not guaranteed. You can have the best product and the best service, but if you are failing on compliance, legislation, staffing, resourcing and efficiencies, you will struggle to grow. Infrastructure should support this growth. Effective data collection, standardising that data collection, will ensure a right first time behaviour. You're not going to have to go back and revisit that works. It's going to avoid poor quality. An automation of workflows increases efficiency and in turn increases productivity. And you'll be able to see that in your data analysis coming through on your dashboards. Immediate reporting improves communication with your customer, triggers next stage action and delivers efficient billing. HR and performance management highlights capabilities and opportunity for development. This is key. If you're spending so much on your staff, let's make sure that they're working efficiently. Let's make sure that they're not doing tasks that a computer could do for them or technology could do for them. Customer portals improve professionalism and allow customers to self-manage. When a customer's involved, it's much more likely that you're going to build reputation with them, strong reputation. You're going to be able to demand for billing cycles to be improved and be more efficient. And it's going to help you build those and maintain those relationships. And tracking can support operational efficiency and improve capacity. Often tracking is viewed as Big Brother, but actually it's there to support your guys and girls out in the field. So hopefully with that, what I've been able to do is articulate the reasons why the majority of our clients that we first speak to have struggled to grow. And then through the introduction of technology and the analysis of the impact of that, what's actually changed for them. And hopefully we've been able to summarise that in these slides for you today. So that brings me to the end of my presentation. Hope you found it useful. I believe I've gone 1 minute over, so apologies if I've made you late for your next meeting. As I said previously, if you would like to discuss or receive the information from these slides, please do let me know and I'd be delighted to get them across to you. If you want to pick up the phone and talk to me about anything, again, I'd be delighted to have that conversation and I'd be more than happy for you to share this deck with anyone that you would like to share it with as well. So please contact me on the slide that I'm about to place up when I end today's presentation. Thank you so much for attending today. Thank you so much for your attention. It's really, really important. It's difficult to stand up here and present when there's nobody watching. So thank you again for that. And I wish you all the best. Have a great day. And I look forward to receiving a call or an email from you asking for further information. Thank you very much.